Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm pretty excited for this video because it's going to be any makeup releases and we are just going to be chatting about all the new releases in the past week and what I think about them and whether I'm debating to purchase them or not. And I feel like we have a lot of really beautiful things to talk about this week, which I'm always excited about. Definitely it's more fun to film this when there's things that I feel strongly about, because some weeks it's just like, oh yeah, there's this and it's fine, and there's this and it's fine, but then sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share these products with y'all this week. And we actually have quite a few new brands being relative, because you might already know them, you could, but you also might not, because they're pretty less well-known brands. Oh my gosh, I don't know, where's my English? Brands that are less well-known. So hopefully we can shine a little spotlight on them today and talk about their releases. So before we jump in, I figured I'll just let you know real quick that this series is inspired by Angelica Nikis and Samantha March, so I always leave both of their channels linked down below, as well as the you guys, I don't know if my mic's gonna catch on that, like my breathing. Still literally wheezing. Anyways, I think that's everything I had to say. Let's just go ahead and jump on in. Okay, first, GlamLite did a little sneak peek of another new palette that they are working on. They are pumping out palettes like there's no tomorrow, but this is their new pizza slice palette. Love the idea. From the very first moment that I mentioned their big pizza palette, I believe it was Nerdy Girl Makeup said that she wished that it was a slice, and now there are slices. So there is a veggie lover and a meat lover, and I think it's super cute. There's not going to be any repeating shades from the previous palette, so I love the idea. I think it contains the same amount of like, ooh, it's a pizza kind of feeling. Really already. I feel like the slice still kind of retains that like, ooh, I have a pizza palette kind of feelings, but it is a little bit more practical, a little bit easier to store, a little bit of a better size. So definitely really like that idea. Alright, next is a new palette from Lash Beauty, and this is so beautiful. I love this altogether so much. They did sneak peek this a few months ago, I think it was, outside of the palette, and you just saw the pans and the colors, and I loved it then, but I love it even more now, seeing it all together like this. I think it looks really beautiful. And I'm all about this. Like, I'm all about, like, the half purple and, like, the half green and blue. And I think this palette is stunning. They do sell mink lashes, which is what makes it so easy to just say, nope, don't need this palette. But I think if they didn't sell the mink lashes, it would be something I would seriously be interested in. I think it's really stunning. I'm telling myself, like, I have these colors separately. I don't need it. But I do really like it. I love it all together. And, sometimes with makeup, it's not always, well, actually, always with makeup, it's not about what you need. It's, it's a luxury, so it's what makes you happy, it's what makes you feel good. So this is the kind of palette that I'm completely drawn to. But I do feel like if you are also someone drawn to these colors, and you're not a big fan of their cruelty-free status, that you can kind of make up this palette using certified palettes. So I definitely feel like the new Affinity 2 and then the original Affinity together, I am going to own both of those because I'm waiting for the Affinity 2. I already have the Affinity, so I feel like together I can definitely recreate this palette on my own. It's all good, but I do think it looks really beautiful. Okay, next is some sneak peeks from Notoriously Morbid. I am so here for this. This is definitely one of the releases very much on my mind. And they've only sneak peeked 2 shades so far, but this is their new Ritual of Moons palette, and it's going to have 12 shadows. I have noticed their last palette, they released them as singles, so possibly if they do a palette that's not everything's not my cup of tea in that palette, I can probably, maybe possibly, fingers crossed, buy the ones that I want as singles, because Notoriously Morbid is a brand I want to try really bad. They're like on the top of my list. So I'm very intrigued by this. So they sneak peeked this shade, which I think is, it's called Snow, and it just looks like this beautiful light duochrome. I don't know, I love light shades that have a lot of dimension or a lot of shifts. Those really work for my skin tone, and they just make me happy. So The next shade is called Crow, and this looks to be like a beautiful, like purpley blue shade with like a pinky gray shift. I don't even know how to describe it. It does remind me a little bit of Calx from Cleona Cosmetics, but still super, super beautiful. Such a like interesting, cool tone shade. So I do really, really want to keep my eyes open and see what else they sneak peek for this collection and this palette, and I just like the idea of it. So they definitely have my attention. All right, next is a new palette from VE Cosmetics, and it is their new Elements palette, which is going to be launching soon. So I think that this looks pretty. It's kind of got like a little bit of blue, a little bit of green, some warm tones, but these are all shimmer shades, so that doesn't really speak to me. I do think that the color scheme looks pretty, but I'm not drawn to purchase it. But I like the vibes. I do like the vibes. Okay, so next is some new releases from Alamar Cosmetics, and I'm really excited about these just because I do like the brand, I like the vibes, I like that it's Latina owned, I like that it's like a small indie brand, so I'm all about it, and I am excited to see them continuously produce new products, and it seems like they're putting out products with a lot of quality. Jeez. So I was definitely excited to see this, and they are coming, or they're not coming out with, they have already released them, they're already available, you can shop them right now if you so please. So they came out with 4 glosses, and they look nice. I like gloss. I mean, for me, this is one of those releases, it's like, if I wasn't on a low buy, I would be making an Alamar order. I feel like I would make an order with their new palette, with a blush trio, and with a gloss or two. Like, that's what I would be eyeing. But I'm on a low buy, so I'm not going to. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. And I'm definitely going to be watching reviews and everything, but I think like glosses, it's a good go-to. Gabby T, the owner of Alamar Cosmetics, was sneak peeking the glosses a hot minute ago, so I was kind of expecting those. And then, like I said, they are also releasing 3 new Colorete blush trios. Although saying Colorete and blush together is a little bit redundant. But I think that these look really, really beautiful. I love the vibes. Like I said, it's like the ocean, and they do have, I think it was fair light, medium tan, and then deep rich, I believe was the deepest. So it's awesome that like from the very start, they're going to have something for everyone. So definitely really, really excited about this and curious to see reviews, and I like it. I like it. I don't need it. I'm not going to purchase it at this moment because I'm trying to save money, trying to pay my bills, but I do like it. Okay, so next, Luxe Beauty is coming out with 3 new highlighter trios, and they have done 2 different highlighter palettes in the past, but it's nice to see trios because I feel like they're kind of, like they're a little bit more organized by like what skin tone I feel like would work for each. I can kind of say like my prediction as I go through, but there is one, and it is the Watermelon Highlight Trio. Looks super, super cute, vibrant. I'm thinking this would probably be good for like a medium skin tone just from looking at the colors, maybe to deep, but I would probably say this one's probably the more medium one. And it's super cute. It says choose to glow, and there's some fun colors. And then the next one is called the Tropical Highlighter Trio, and this one has a coconut scent. This is the one that speaks to me for sure because it looks like it's the one that's supposed to be for a fair skin tone, and I love colored highlights. I know I don't need it. I know I don't need it. I like their highlighter formula so much. It's very, very intense, and you have to go in with just a little bit, but I feel like overall it's really, really nice. And glowy, so definitely that one caught my attention. And then the last one I have screenshotted here is the new Flourish highlighter palette, and this one I would say would probably be the best for like a deeper, darker skin tone. So I think that these all look beautiful. They're definitely all very unique highlighter palettes. It's not like the typical mainstream pale white, champagne, and then a deeper like bronze coppery color. Like, I feel like these look pretty unique, and like I can't just look at them and think like, oh, that reminds me of this or that reminds me of that. So I do like the idea of these, and I believe that they're all releasing on April 6th. Okay, next is a new palette from a brand I recently discovered called Sunqueen Cosmetics, and this is the Citrus Garden palette. This is so beautiful. It definitely completely caught my attention. I really, really love the vibes of this. It does remind me a little bit of Subculture, but there's just something to it. I love like the lime. I love the matte options. The matte options are so beautiful. And then there's some fun shimmers. And I feel like this is an all around really fun palette that definitely caught my attention. It's available now for 22 Australian dollars, which I think the price is definitely right for sure. Like that is a really, really great price. Although I'm not sure if they do ship to the United States or not, but if they do, I'm sure the shipping charge is probably going to be about the same price as the palette. Unfortunately, because that's just how it is. But I do think that the palette is really, really beautiful. I'm like trying to explain why I'm not buying it, but you know, it's just realistic. We can't buy everything that we like. So, but I do really, really like it. I think it's very pretty. So next is a new palette from Velvet 59. They actually sneak peeked this like probably, I think, last summer, but I don't know what happened. It took a really, really long time for it to truly come to light, but here it is, and it is their new Paradise Princess palette. It's available now for $35, and I think this is really pretty. I love the vibes. I'm like, yes, throw some water on a palette and I'll buy it, but really I think it looks very tropical. And then there's a lot of pink, and there's a few pops of other colors, but I like it. I do like it. I think it's pretty. I think it seems like a nice addition to have, and I like pinks, but I know that this is something I don't need. I really don't need two full rows of pink. I have a lot of pink already. Any pink look I want to do, I could probably do. So I know I don't need it. I don't need it. But I do like it. I think it's pretty. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Okay, next is from Terra Cosmetics, and they are sneak peeking their new Astrology palette, and I think that this seems so nice. I love the packaging on here. Like, packaging looks so cute. I love the astrology theme, although it's kind of, you know, it's kind of been dead to death a little bit at this point, but that's okay. I'm still here for it. Like, it's fine. Just keep doing you. I think the shades here look really nice. There's like a super, super true red matte shade. And then the shimmers look beautiful, like that purpley blue, that blurple. The green shifty one, if you saw that in video, like definitely go check out their Instagram. The green shift, it looks amazing. It looks amazing, amazing, amazing. And then the yellow one is like a yellow to a pink shift, which I die for. So I am definitely all about this palette so far. I think it looks really, really beautiful. I am definitely curious to see what color schemes they keep coming out with, because they made the Sweet Nothings palette, which I believe was limited edition for Valentine's Day, which is why I didn't end up purchasing it, because I just don't want to get limited edition things. But I thought that palette was absolutely beautiful, and I just thought like the color scheme was beautiful. So I'm like, yes, I'm intrigued by what is going on in your mind, the colors you're putting together. So that makes me extra excited to see what this palette ends up being all together in one. So I'm very excited to keep creeping on that for sure. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I haven't worn purple shadow in so long, but I keep looking at myself and I'm like, I look so tired. I look so dead. Like, I'm just not, I mean, I like the makeup look, but I just don't feel like myself today. I don't even know. Okay, we also have this palette here from New Culture Cosmetics, and this is the Sriracha Hot and Saucy palette. It's available for pre-order now. And this is funny. If you are a fan of hot sauce, you might like this because all the different names, like they have spicy, it's lit, hot mama, saucy, red hot, fire, flaming, fuego, something I can't read, zesty, keep it spicy, and blaze. So all these different like hot sauce and like spicy and saucy, you know, names. So I mean, I think that the theme is fun. It does look to be a lot of pressed glitters. I'm not about the pressed glitter life, so I'm not really about this. The color scheme is fine. There's like some pinks, some neutrals, some red. So I like it enough, but I'm not like dying over it or anything. I'm mostly liking the theme. Although I'm not a spicy food kind of person. I will eat spicy food if it's like a certain like Pang Thai. That's what it's called, right? Like, I'll eat, like, really good spicy Thai food because it's, like, it's part of the experience. It's part of the food. Like, I'll eat it then, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll, like, sweat and, like, you know, whatever. But I'll still enjoy the food. But if it's like just like I'm eating stuff on my own, I'm like, ooh, let me make this spicy. Like, no, that's not me. All right, I have one last indie release to talk about, and I really just want to give this one its moment. That's why I waited to talk about it last. So this is a new Menagerie Cosmetics Whalesong palette, and they sneak peeked a little picture of what the palette was supposed to be. So, you know, I'll post it obviously, and you can see the colors. You can see, we'll talk about it for a moment. It's so beautiful. I love the color scheme. I love like the purples and the blue and the green, and like obviously there's supposed to be like a duochrome shimmer, like a light blue shimmer, that like really interesting like a green on the bottom left corner. Like, I'm all about this palette. Part of me says, like, just from looking at the samples, like maybe I could make this with my own singles, but I'm here for the vibes of the palette. I'm here for the brand. So I definitely plan on picking this palette up the moment it's available, as one of my monthly palette purchases, because I just love the colors and I love the brand. Okay, so basically what I wanted to say is that they posted this picture on their Instagram, and they kind of, you know, did a heartfelt message about how hard it is being a small brand and like trying to grow, and that they wanted this palette to happen so bad, but they unfortunately were not going to be able to make it happen because they just haven't had the support that they like thought that they were going to have, kind of thing. And I think that's so heartbreaking because a huge part of it is the Instagram like algorithm and everything, and how everything changed. It makes it so much harder. Like, influencers talk about it all the time, which is not the same thing to me, because yes, some influencers do it as like a full-time job, and sometimes do it as a part-time, and sometimes like Instagram is like, I feel like you don't make money through Instagram. Maybe you do when you're really big, but it's very hard to make money when you're small, like as just a person, you know what I mean? Like, just someone like trying to do makeup, trying to like share your stuff with the world, whatever. But when you think about how it affected indie brands and like their people who like genuinely relied on Instagram to like get what they're selling out to their customers, and like that's the problem with the new Instagram algorithm, is that barely anyone who's following you sees your post. I'm not a person who complains about it, ever. Not for me. Like, I don't care. Like, if someone doesn't see my post, like, it's fine. Like, I really can't stand people who like spend so much time complaining. I'm like, let's just change it. Let's do better. Like, what can I do to be better, instead of like focusing on something I have no control over? But it makes me so sad for indie brands on Instagram, because like for a lot of people that's their livelihood, like that's their business, and it's so greatly affected because social media is such a strong like factor in business, especially nowadays when you sell online. So I don't know, that makes me really sad for them, and I want them to do well. I want the best for them. I had a really, really amazing customer service experience with Menagerie Cosmetics, just as a regular normal customer. So I'm going to actually tell that story tomorrow, because I'm doing my Shop My Stash for April tomorrow. In case you guys want to watch that, I'll talk about the story, because I'm going to be using some Menagerie products, yada yada. You'll have to wait till tomorrow for everything. But basically, I just feel like the brand has so much heart behind it that it makes me sad. I want them to do well. And when this palette comes out, I'm definitely going to be purchasing it. Oh, wait, I didn't tell the full story. So they posted that. They got a lot of feedback, some good, some positive, you know, whatever. They got feedback, and they decided to go ahead and they asked their manufacturer if they could put in a smaller order for this palette, and they are going to be able to. So I believe that they're planning on doing a pre-order, and I think it might be 4 weeks out, which I don't feel like is that like bad. Like, I don't mind doing pre-orders personally. Like, if I want it now, I'm gonna want it in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Like, you know, I don't mind pre-orders basically. So they're planning on doing a pre-order. I think that it's hopefully going to start tomorrow. If it is, you know, I'll let you know if there's any more updates in the description box, because I am filming this 2 days before you guys see it. But I'm really excited about it. I'm all in for it. Actually, you know what I was thinking? I might do Menagerie Cosmetics as my like brand to try in this next month, because although I have tried their eyeshadows before, like that's only one product, and they do have a few different things, and I just really want to support them and talk about them. And you know, like that's what, like I feel like I'm not even making any sense when I'm talking. I feel like I've found a new purpose in my channel, which is like I feel like I have such a strong heart for getting to talk about indie brands and show, you know, the brands that don't get talked about enough, and, you know, just shed light on smaller businesses. Like, and you guys seem to enjoy it too, because you get to see brands that not everyone else is talking about. It kind of gives me my own little niche, and it makes me really happy, and I feel really rewarded. Like, you know, like I could sit here all day long and talk about Astrology Beverly Hills until the cows come home, and no one cares. Literally no one cares. Like, it's just another, just another, like anyone can do that. But whenever you actually take the time to talk about brands that are so little and they're putting so much in and they're trying to send their kids to college, and it's such a genuine exchange between people, I don't know, I love it. I love it. So that's why I just wanted to give them their little moment. If you have not checked out Menagerie Cosmetics, you haven't heard of them, you definitely should check them out. They do some really cool color schemes. They just came out with single shadows. They have a bunch of different really cool liquid lipsticks. They have some more like neutral, like normal color liquid lipstick if that's more your vibes. So they also came out with a like smaller, more neutral palette recently as well, the Courtship palette, which wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but I think that they, like I said, I feel like they have so much heart behind their brand. So I'm done. Yeah, I'm done blabbering and blabbering. I just wanted to do that. All right, so now let's move on. We just have very few mainstream releases to talk about. Actually, we might not. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mainstream releases. That's not bad at all. All right. First, BH Cosmetics came out with a new palette with Itsmyrayeraye. If I wasn't on a low buy, that's gonna be like my phrase. Like I need like a cup that says if I wasn't on a low buy, because that's how I feel when I'm talking in these videos right now. I really love this palette. I think it's stunning. I love BH Cosmetics formula. The reason, okay, well, there's plenty of reasons why I could say I talked myself out of this, but I would say the thing that got me the most is that this palette looks so much like the Luxe collection that they came out with. I can't remember what they called it. I'm sorry to disappoint you if you're like seeing it on screen right now, because I'm gonna put it on screen and you're like, oh, I love that collection. I think a lot of the shades are no longer available, but I did purchase that, and the swatches and everything looked so close to what I'm seeing here that I'm like, I know I could make these with my singles in like 2 seconds if I just pulled out my Luxe singles. So I know I don't need it. But the price is right. I like Itsmyrayeraye. She's super sweet. She actually watched my original video that I did on her first palette and like commented and stuff. So it's super cool to see someone actually take time to watch and comment and, stuff like that. But I love it. This is such my vibes, but I don't need it. I genuinely feel like BH Cosmetics, although they are pumping out a lot of products recently, they are kind of killing it at the same time. So next, let's talk about this for a moment. Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics. Is it finally coming? I feel like we've talked about this before. Jaclyn Hill teasing it. She's doing an actual photo shoot and everything, so I'm assuming it's happening. It's happening. So I have put a lot of thought into what I'm going to talk about for this week, because I feel like there was so much negative feedback on Trend Mood. Well, obviously, always there's a lot of negative feedback on Trend Mood no matter what you post. But on this photo in particular, people are angry about Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics. And I feel like, to me, part of me is happy that she took a really, really long time to make it perfect. Part of me feels like if she had done it a few years ago, it would have been her prime time. People would have been here for it. Now she's like a little bit late to the party. People kind of don't trust her as much as they used to. So I feel like, it was definitely not her prime time as much as it was before. So, it is what it is. But I feel like people are still going to go mad crazy about this brand. Like, I feel like you see all the negative comments, but when it comes down to it, I feel like people are still going to try and buy it and talk about it. And for me personally, I'm one of them. Like, I am very, very curious to see what it's going to be. Like, that's definitely a brand I could see considering to choose as my brand for the month to buy and try and test out, because I'm just curious to see what Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics is going to be all about. I was also thinking about the fact that if she had stopped at her original Jaclyn Hill palette, which people loved. Like, that honestly was probably one of the best collabs, like, all across the boards. I feel like it was like A+. Even people who hate Morphe say that they enjoy that palette. Some people say, like, you know, it's nothing special, but for the most part, that palette had so many positive reviews that I feel like if she had stopped at that palette and that collaboration and then went on to do her own thing, it would have been a really, really great transition because people trusted it. People thought that was amazing. Like, that was her work. Like, it was amazing. Like, I love my Jaclyn Hill palette. But then I feel like because of, like, the entire, like, vault thing and, like, the inconsistencies and, like, the feeling of her saying, like, oh, you're gonna have this amazing shadow, and then it wasn't amazing, I feel like because of that whole scandal there, it's going to make a lot of people more hesitant to purchase from her brand. But for me, I feel like she is really talented. I feel like she knows what she's doing. I don't know what happened with the vault collections. I am wearing one right now, and I think it's fine. It's fine. It's not as good as the original palette, but it's fine for me. But I don't know. I feel I have mixed emotions. Overall, I would say that for me, I'm probably going to buy from Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics. Probably going to try it out because I'm curious. And, you know, I've said it before in a very low, quiet voice so less people can hear me, but I still trust Jaclyn Hill. Okay, so #gullible. Anyways, moving on, I would be very, very curious to see if you guys will be trying her brand or not, and if you absolutely hate her guts, let's still remember to be kind in the comments, because no matter what you think you know about someone online, that's just a persona, and I know she's never gonna read my comments, but let's just be kind humans, you know, even if you don't like her, let's be classy. Alright, so next, Tarte released their Icy Betch palette, and I have some thoughts. Alright, so I love the packaging. Actually, I think the packaging is so beautiful, like all the blue and the purple and the crystals. I hate the name Icy Betch. Like, that feels like that was the April Fool's joke. Like, who would sell a palette called Icy Betch? Like, I just feel like it's so, like, oh my gosh, she's an Icy Betch. Like, it's not my vibes, for sure. Take a shot every time I say vibes in this video. But, you know, I was willing to put that behind me. Like, I could move on. I could buy something called Icy Betch if I really loved the inside. And to be honest, I do really like the colors. Like, I feel like the palette looks so funny, but I'll put swatches on screen. I think the swatches look great. I think it looks beautiful. I love the mix of the blues and the greens. I think it's a nice palette, and I'm glad that they are putting it out. I think it's fun. It's something different. I hope that people do buy it and show them, like, yes, we will try something different. We will buy something different from Tarte, because if no one buys it, then they're going to be like, maybe we should just keep doing browns, like we said. My problem with this palette is the layout. Like, the layout makes literally no sense at all. Like, there's 6 big shadows. Some of them are matte, some of them are shimmer, and then there's 3 shadows on the bottom. 2 of them are grouped together. One's by itself, 2 are shimmers, one's matte, and then there's a giant highlighter, and it doesn't make any sense. It does not make sense. It does not make any sense. It does not make any sense. Like, why did they group it like this? Like, it looks so ugly. Like, I'm mad at how it looks, because if it was all the same size, if it all just fit together, it would have been fine. Like, it would have been awesome. But looking at this, I'm like, why did they do that? Like, can someone at Tarte please explain to me what your thoughts were? Like, oh yeah, let's just throw a shadow over there. I know it's something so petty, like, it makes no difference in a look, but it just drives me insane. So that's kind of what I hate about this palette, and that's kind of where I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna buy it. I know I could buy this, like, I know I could make this with my own collection. I have the dupe version from Menagerie Cosmetics, which I'll leave, like, a picture on screen. You guys can check that out if you want. I think theirs was called something punny. Maybe the No Joke bundle or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And then Davina did one, which I think was called, like, the Blue Betch bundle or something like that. You can buy that too all together and get, like, the original, because The other thing with this is that it's not the original. It's not the palette that they promised, which it makes sense to me. It makes 100% sense. Why would they do that palette? Because that palette has been replicated, exactly replicated several times. Like other brands have done it too, not just indie brands. People took that palette and made exactly that palette. So I feel like everyone is so up in arms. Like, why didn't they do the palette that they showed us? That's because everyone else already did the palette they showed because they thought it was a joke. Once again, they just messed it up all for themselves, but that's the reason, in my opinion, why they didn't do the same palette. Like, they couldn't, obviously, do the exact same thing because everyone already stole him because they released it as a joke. So, I feel all over mixed emotions with this. If I wasn't on a low buy, I would buy it, for sure. I would buy it, I would test it out, I would tell you if it was worth it, if the shadow quality was good, but I know I don't need it personally, so I'm not going to spend my money on it. But, yeah, mixed emotions. Overall, I just can't get over the layout. Okay, next is the reveal of the new Urban Decay and Game of Thrones collaboration. And not really loving this. I mean, it looks fine. I feel like this is one of those things, it's like if you're obsessed with the show, then you'll probably like it. I think I want to talk about the palette mostly. I think the palette looks pretty cool. It has, it has the 4 different, I think the houses, I can't even remember what they're called. And then they have 4 shadows in each, and then they have like 4, I don't know if they're just considered like extra special shadows or something to the side. But I think that overall it looks cool. I think I would have so much preferred if they sold them individually, like all little palettes, maybe for like $20 each or something like that, or maybe like $15 each. Oh, that's probably too cheap for Urban Decay. I think maybe $20 each they could have gotten away with. Instead, they have this entire humongous palette for $65, and I feel like it's just too much. Like, it's huge, and I feel like, again, it's just something you would only buy if you're like really into the show, which this is probably a tangent. Good thing it's at the end of the video. But I don't know. I feel like whenever I started watching Game of Thrones, which I only started watching it because everyone was talking about it, and my brother had all of them like downloaded onto a hard drive and was like, here you go, watch it. So I like had it for free, easy access. That's really what it was. I was honestly genuinely shocked that like as I was watching, I was like, this is the show that everyone's obsessed with? Like this show? Which I'm not saying anything against it, because like if you're a hardcore stan, like please don't come for me, because I did kind of like it. Like it's fine. Like I can see where parts are intriguing. I can see where it's like, oh my gosh, like, you find out in the very first episode, but when you find out like the brother and sister, like the incest, I'm like, oh my god, like what the heck? I love a good what the heck moment. But, I just couldn't believe that was the show that everyone like was talking about, because it's just so like violent, and you know if you've watched it. Like, I honestly, the reason I had to stop watching it is because they killed a baby. Like, they graphically, okay, it wasn't that graphic, but it gave me nightmares because Roman was a baby at the time, and I just cried and cried and cried. I was like, I can't watch the show anymore. They killed the baby. So yeah. Yeah, I tried to get back into it because I'm curious, like, when everyone talks about something, you're like, I want to know. But basically, yeah, I just had to say that for a moment. Like, if anyone else started watching it because of the hype, and then you started watching and you're like, wait, this is what everyone's telling me to watch? Like, this is it? Which I like historically, like, feeling shows. Like, I love that. Like, I've watched a fair amount of, like, I liked Rain. I was watching a different show on the Tudors. Like, I like that kind of stuff, but I don't know, I just found it odd. Anyways, not odd as in the show, odd as in people loving it, basically. Alright, last but not least, we have some new releases from Fenty Beauty that I thought I would mention. First of all, they're coming out with a new blush, which looks really pretty. It's it says it's a metallic brick red. I definitely don't need any more blushes. But actually, this was very interesting to me because the shade is called Geishachic, and I took the liberty of doing some different research on geishas just because I only had a small amount of knowledge because I watched the movie, I think it was called Memoirs of a Geisha, and I had a very, like, bad view of it because of that movie, and that being the only thing I knew, because in the movie, the geisha is, like, forced to sell. This isn't PG-13. Basically, it made me think that geishas were something that they're not. So I did go ahead and research and do some articles because I was like, Geishachic, like, is that name a little offensive, or I don't know. But I did do some research, and that's not what it is at all. It's actually really, really interesting. In the beginning, geishas were actually men, and it's like just people who entertain, and it's like a skill, basically. I don't know. I found it very, very interesting. Maybe I'll leave an article link down below in case you want to learn more about geishas too. But it was, what happened in the movie slash book, because it's a book too, is illegal. Like, that's not what it is at all. So a shout out to the blush for causing me to do a little history lesson. But anyways, there's also new bronzers, and these are called the Instant Warmth Bronzers. And yes, leave it to Fenty to come out with, you know, a beautiful bronzer with, like, a really nice shade range. I think these look really, really nice. I can't judge the deeper shades very well because, like, I can't say, like, oh yeah, that's gonna be amazing for deeper skin tones, because I'm just not, that's not my forte. But I can say from looking at the lightest shade that I think it looks really, really nice. Honestly, it's really awesome, the paleness of the model that they use there, because normally, I don't know if y'all have noticed this, but normally almost all swatch pictures it's 3 arms, and it's like someone who's, like, light, someone who's, like, medium, and someone who's deep, and they actually have deep, medium, light, and fair. And you can tell, like, she has a super, super pale arm, which is just nice because, you know, you can see the difference in the color between the pale and the light skin tone. It's a big difference when you're super, super pale like me. So I think that's awesome. You know, obviously Fenty has been extremely inclusive on both ends of the spectrum, but, you know, they're killing it. They're killing it at including people who are sometimes left out. So I really appreciate them having a very pale arm swatched, even though it seems like such a little thing. And I think the lightest shade looks really, really nice. Definitely something I'm interested in. I'm going to watch reviews and see if people say really good things about it, and if they do, that'll be on, like, my list of things to buy in 2020. That feels like a long time from now, but I'm sure by then I'll want to try a new bronzer, and I will definitely be more than happy to try and buy one from Fenty. So yeah, I think that looks really, really nice, and it looks like a really, really great undertone, so I'm here for it. I'm here for the new releases. They're always killing it, basically. Alright, so that is everything I had to say for today's video. My throat is starting to hurt really bad because I've been talking so long, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I would love to hear your thoughts on all the releases down below and what you are most excited about, what you are staying far away from. I love to hear your thoughts, and it also helps me because if I'm trying to decide on whether to purchase something or not, then I know if you guys are interested in seeing me review it. I don't know, did I talk about, what did I talk about? Oh, definitely talk about Menagerie is what I want to purchase the most. So, you know, if I ever mention, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I want to buy this, and you were like, yes, I want to see a review on that, let me know, because that does sway my purchase decision sometimes. So I'm done chatting. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.